let's start. Hi there. In this particular series, I'm starting with neural networks, and I will try to cover each and every aspect of the complete course of neural networks. And um, one more thing, I will go step by step. I will start with the very basic of the neural network. What is it, and how it came into existence. Obviously neural networks, it mostly initially it relates with the biological neural networks, then how it being developed and how it helped the researchers to think about artificial neural networks and how artificial neural networks is similar to biological neural networks and how they are different. So these kind of basic things we'll start with, and then we'll see how it works, how many algorithms are there which comprises together make one complete artificial neural network. So yes, and uh, if you really like my lecture, please subscribe the channel and like the videos, and comment on the things what you liked about, what you don't like about. So everything is welcome, and your yes, your comments, your likes, they are a complete motivation to me to proceed forward. So please, yes, subscribe to the channel for more videos, and let's start with the thing. I will start with what is artificial neural network, and basically then I will tell you uh, what is biological neural network and how they both are related to each other. Now, what is artificial neural network? Basically, artificial neural network is a is a part of artificial intelligence which attempts to imitate the way human brain works. So, before directly jumping towards that how artificial neural network works, it is very important to understand how our brain works, how things are going on inside our brain, and how we take things as input and how we give some response in the form of output. So that is very much important to know about. And artificial neural networks, I will say ki yes, they are yes, they try to imitate the way human brain works, and rather than utilizing a digital model in which all computations manipulate zeros and ones, a neural network works by creating connections between processing elements, the way it happens in our brain. Exactly. Basically what happens in artificial neural network, you can also say it like it is an information processing system. And in this information processing system, the elements that I just utilized, the word that I've utilized just now, the elements, they are nothing but they are called neurons, and who are responsible to process the information. These signals are transmitted by means of connection links, and the link possesses an associated weight which is multiplied with the increasing incoming signal, which is called as net input in artificial neural network, and the output signal is obtained by applying some functions over it. So we will see it in very much detail how it happens, and we will solve some questions also. So let's move forward. This is the basic definition of artificial neural network. Okay, right now what you have to understand from this particular slide, this particular thing, that artificial neural network is trying to develop a thing which will behave like our brain as a human brain. So that is the thing you have to think about, and how we work. We basically learn from things that you have to understand. So the parallel computers, non-human computers that came into machines that came into existence. So it behaves, it works in completely different manner, and it completely depends on the learning system. How much your machine can learn, just like your brain does, and on the basis of the past data, past memory, how they can predict things which they have not seen. Okay, so we'll discuss about it more. Let's see this biological neural network. What is this biological neural network? How our brain works. So let's go through it in a little bit detail. This complete thing that I have shown over here, it is a neuron. This complete thing is a neuron. I will highlight this thing. So that you can understand what I'm talking about, this complete structure is of a neuron, which includes several things inside it. And by seeing the behavior of how our brain works, artificial neural network came into existence, which behaves in the same way that our brain does. Now, see this biological neural network. What is this biological neural network? So, this picture is of a neuron that I just told you. And what is the work of neuron? Neuron is very fundamental unit of our brain. It is a very important part of our brain which helps in taking some things as input, and neuron is only responsible to forward the commands to other neurons and generates the output signals. That complete processes goes on by through the neurons, and there are nearly 100 billion interconnections inside our brain, which works on several things. Even new neurons also get generated when we are growing up, and it happens in adults also. So yes, that is the thing. Our brain is nothing but combination of lot of neurons, and it is nothing but a very complex structure if you imagine it in that way. Like there are several neurons in one environment, and they are interconnected with each other, and they are communicating with each other. So that is nothing but our brain is, if you can imagine. So think about it. So here I'm just talking about that how that one neuron works and how it sends information to another neurons. So it comprises of several things. The first one is like you can see some words that are written over here, dendrites, and I have explained along with the same what is their work, so that you can relate the things with the machine. Okay, so it comprises of some things. First one is dendrites. Soma is also called as cell body. Next one is axon, and next one is synapses. So how they work? Basically, these synapses, these particular thing, this one I'm talking about. This synapses, they are elementary signal processing devices. Um, the work of it is it converts a presynaptic electrical signal into chemical signal, and then back to postsynaptic electrical signal. Okay. I think I made it really complex to understand at this point of very basic thing. So let's understand it in a very easy way how it works. See what happens in complete structure. uh, the main elements I will tell you. Okay, the work of dendrites, this thing, the work of this one is to take the inputs. It accepts the inputs, whatever response we are getting from the real world. If someone is touching us, if someone is going to hit us, or if someone is showing some very gentle behavior to us, so that kind of inputs, so that's are being accepted by dendrites, that you can consider as an input. And you can relate the same thing in machine, the input as we talk in machines. Second one, soma, the cell body. uh, it sums up, it basically combines all those inputs together. So the work of soma becomes this particular cell body becomes, it processes those inputs that are coming from real world. And then the axon, what it does, axon, basically the work of axon is to when enough amount of inputs have come over to react, then the processed input, those processed inputs will be turned into the outputs. That means the response will come. So what then you can also say in terms of biology that the neuron fires, you can say like that. So it transmits signals from axon to other cells. That happens inside our one neuron, it is happening. And synapses are basically the electrochemical contact between the neurons. It helps to connect with the other neurons, and this, the processed input, the information that came from a particular thing, it will be transformed to the other neurons, and the response comes. Like if someone is showing us a very gentle gesture, if someone wants to shake the hands, then yes, we go and shake the hand with them. So that is basically an output. So In that way we understand things. So our dendrites are taking input as okay, yes, someone wants to talk to us, and we are taking input as like, and our brain, what is happening inside our brain, like a very complex structure, that processing is going on okay, yes, some input came to us, and how we have to respond, that axon tells the neurons that now we have to shake the hand, and we give as an output. So that basically goes through synapses to another cell bodies. So I will repeat that particular line, which I made very complex initially, that a synapse is a biochemical device which converts a presynaptic electrical signal. Presynaptic electrical signal means the earlier neuron signal that is coming from the axon of the neuron into a chemical signal, and then back into a post synaptic electrical signal. That means it passes one information from one neuron to another neuron. So that happens from with the help of synapses. So there's nothing being complex, that is nothing being complex in on that particular line that I just told, from presynaptic to postsynaptic, from one thing to another thing, from it is passing information from one thing to another thing, and that one thing is nothing but the neuron. So that is all how our brain works. One neuron is working, and there are multiple neurons like this exist inside our brain which are communicating with each other, and because of which we are able to do things. And basically these are the things which make us the way we are, human beings. Yes. So that is nothing but the biological neuron. So it is very important to understand this complete structure of a biological neuron to understand artificial neuron, because obviously because we exist, that's why artificial neuron network came into existence. So in this way, if just for right now you remember ki which one is working like input, which one is processing the outputs, and in between this particular thing here, processing is happening over the inputs that are coming over. So yes, this is the complete introduction of biological neural networks that you have to remember. I will not confuse you too much to give um, about more complexity, and I will make you understand now how this artificial neural network behaves like this biological neural network. Let's move towards the next slide, and I will show you. See this part, artificial neural network. Now see, I have made one structure of artificial network which is showing some similar kind of things that are present in our neuron, a biological neuron, like this dendrites. I will highlight the things. Dendrites, cell body is nothing but the soma. Threshold, yes, because we are working on. I will make it relate to the biological neuron. I will tell you, and axon. Now see how it is happening. Artificial neural network basically it is working like our brain only, and how the researchers have transformed this complete biological thing into this artificial network thing. How beautiful this is, just look at it. Okay, the inputs that we are taking from through with the help of dendrites, so they have made it like this is input one, this one, this is input one that came from the real world, and in machine obviously we will give that input, and this is input two, and so on. As many inputs as possible we can take in this one, and in this way it can go on, and it can be input m, you can say. So this is the thing that you have to remember. There are multiple inputs coming over, and dendrite, as similar to the biological neural network, it is taking them as an inputs all together. And then cell body soma, which is processing the inputs, which was processing the inputs in biological neural network, here that processing is happening. So in machine, how it happens, it will sum up those inputs. For right now you have to remember this much only. It will sum up those inputs, that's why this summation sign is shown over here. And when the enough inputs will be there to process on, that's why this threshold function came over. Threshold, that means enough inputs came over to process, to do the processing. That's why this threshold has been shown. Then the neuron will fire, that means the artificial neuron will fire up. So with the help of this axon, it will fire up and it will give you the output. So see how nice this is to relate these two things, biological, artificial, and how these two things are working in a very similar way, and how this machine came up, how these networks came up in the existence to overcome the disadvantages of simple computers that were existing in our technical world, you can say. So yeah, that you have to know till now, okay, what is biological neural network, what is artificial neural network, and how they relate the things. I hope you understood some very important terms over here. Inputs, which is coming with the help of dendrites, cell body, where processing is happening over those inputs that are coming from the real world, or we are giving them as inputs to the machine if we are talking about artificial neural network. And some threshold value we have to set. If enough inputs are there to process upon, then with the help of axons we will get the outputs. So yes, there is an input, we have to process on the inputs, and we have to get the um, that's it. That's about artificial neural networks, and enough to know right now, and we will discuss in very much detail that how they really work in with real applications, and how they actually provide outputs. Next, one more thing I want to show you, just for your complete understanding. If you have missed out something, this last thing for this particular video, that comparison of the things that being made between biological neural networks. This is BNN, means biological neural networks, and ANN means artificial neural networks. How things of them are related to each other. So you can go through it, and please listen to the complete slide again. And it is very important to understand these two things first before moving forward to the neural networks. I hope you like this part, and please tell me your views, what you think about the videos, and if you want some particular topics to be covered, then yes, you're completely welcome for that. Tell me. Like, comment, give your views about it, and subscribe the channel for more videos if you're liking it. So thank you so much. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.